You and me, I know it's long, yes, I felt that, yes, felt that. Come on. Let's stop. Good evening. Good evening. It's 7 p.m. Wednesday, and I'm Ali Shamsuddin. This is Standing for the People. As I always say, this program is paid for and brought to you by the people. So you never hear me really singling out any contributors. Appreciate all of them that do, as a matter of fact. But these are people who, citizens just like yourself, who decided that we needed a program on again that's bringing facts that we can use. This is not a gossip show. We don't need gossip. I don't do gossip, and we won't be promoting any gossip. We talk about facts here on this program. You know, the issue that we have been so limited by is the fact that we know, or quite often, was not given proper information, which means we were kept ignorant. Now, if you don't have the right information, it doesn't matter how smart you are, you're more than likely not going to make the right decision. In order to make the right decision, you have to have the right information. So those who were against us, they knew that. They knew that. They knew having to deal with us every day. They knew that we were not stupid. They knew we were not dumb. They wanted to convince themselves of that so they could continue to treat us in this inhuman manner. But they knew that, dealing with us every day. I mean, even in slavery, they knew that. They thought, for the ones who are really of that ignorant mindset, they thought they could breed the humanity out of us as a people. But as we see, that cannot be done. The Creator will not allow that. That will not be done. But what we try to do here, standing for the people, we're trying to bring information that we need to know. So we can take a look at, an intelligent look at it, and try to make decisions on how we're going to approach these issues. And even in determining what our priorities are. Now, one major priority that we have now as a community, I mean, as the African American community, and I'm singling us out now, as the African American community, what major priority we have right now is that we register and then we vote. And then not only that, we educate ourselves in the election process. And mind you, I didn't necessarily say the political process. I said educate ourselves in the election process. That is, having a better understanding of whom we're going to vote for. Because as I say, statewide, here we are almost 40% of the populace here African Americans, here in the state of Mississippi, probably more than that. But here we are, 40% of the population. When it comes to statewide elections, we may not be able to determine exactly who go into these statewide offices or these federal offices, Senate and Congress. But we can decide for sure who won't go. We can definitely do that with numbers like that, almost 40% of the population. Now, they understand that. When I say they, I hope y'all understand. I'm talking about those with that bigoted mind, and we still have to deal with some of them, who think it's fair that we always are put in a situation where we have substandard resources, substandard opportunities. There are those who still there that have that mentality that we still have to deal with. Now, when we understand that here in Jackson, we are the government, when we understand that here in Hinds County, we are the government, Jackson Public Schools, Hinds County Public Schools, we are the decision makers. We're in a position to really make a difference. Now, there was a time, and this is why they don't want this taught in our schools, talking about being divisive. In the state of Mississippi, one of the first states to come up with what they call black code law. And see, those with the Charlie Kirk mentality who want to paint a different narrative, you know, they always talking about black folks are always looking for handouts. They don't like to talk about when they made it the law that black people had to be treated as inferior, substandard. It was the law that we had to deal with. So we didn't have a fair shake to start with, and then they thought, well, and even at that, we made great strides and accomplishments. But when you have the law stacked against you, because, you know, we need to understand too, when they want to paint black people as cowards, why did y'all take that? Why did y'all take all that harassment? It wasn't that we didn't have access to guns. They had the law on their side. And the law dictated that should they find themselves in the criminal process or the judicial process, the law dictated that they be treated differently and better than African American. Now, this is just a part of history that they need to know, their children need to know, as well as us and our children need to know. So they can stop painting this picture that all of us are standing around waiting for the government to give us something. It's not fair. So one of the ways we're going to combat that is registering and voting. And then we got to help us never forget us or our children, what it took, the sacrifice and the price that was paid for us to even be able to vote or run for office. Because if more of us understand that and understood that and take it to heart, I believe we would have better personalities and characters in these positions that people that we put in positions of authority. Because basically up to now, by and large, we put people in office. I'm talking about black people. Now, people, I'm talking about black people. We put people in office who think that they have the perfect right to steal our tax dollars. When I say steal, redivert our tax money from where it should go to some interest of theirs and their friends. You see, a lot of times people want to say, well, you know, when one of us get caught up in some criminal activity, and they're coming at us because we black. Well, even if they were, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, you don't care how they come at you. Well, they ain't treating us like they would treat a white person. We say that all the time. Now, just last week, we were talking about the white lady who allegedly, she confessed, according to the story, diverting and stealing $95 million. White woman. $95 million from the Jackson Federal Credit Union. and they're pursuing her in a civil matter, which means she don't go to prison. She don't go to prison. That means they just after her to pay the money back. This black woman, what's her name, Jackson, they say she built the SNAP program out of $75,000, and she's looking at 20 years. They're going after her criminally. Now, is that right? No, but with us knowing that and understanding that from the jump, the wise thing would be not to put yourself in that situation. But I'm saying here we are, the government in Jackson, the mayor, city council, the government in Hinds County, all 5 supervisors, African American, the leadership in Jackson Public School, superintendent African American, school board, majority African American, dealing with, now I'm going to continue to put this out there because more and more people are beginning to hear me and understand when I say, here we got a school district, their budget is $100 million more than the whole city of Jackson's budget. And see, that was a time, and I was one of those who had to go through that process. That was the time that schools were segregated by law. We couldn't think of going to Provine or Wingfield or Murrah, Callaway, Forest Hill. They had one black school in the high school in the county, Sumter Hill, and then they busted children in from not only Clinton and Raymond, but Terry, Crystal Springs, wherever. Because the powers that be were not going to let their white children go to school with no black kids. Now here we are. Our school system, 90, almost 100% black for students. But we 87% of the population. Where the rest of the white kids? So we're still dealing with now separation. Because they know that the people that they put in charge of our children and our money over our tax dollars is finding ways to funnel that money away from our children to theirs. Instead of all these people with all that education and PhDs and whatever are not coming up with programs that would entice anybody, black, white, or whatever, to put their children in public school. They want to act like they don't have the money. That's what they want to tell us, as if now we still got to blame white folks for what's going on in our public schools, and we in charge. We got to try to still blame white folks for what's going on in our city, in our county, and we in charge. So this is why it's so important for us to understand white folks have a 200-year head start on us in this political and electoral process. But we can catch up real fast because we're not dumb and we're not stupid. You take the community parks and pools. When I was growing up, those were in my era, were growing up here in Jackson, there were parks we didn't even know they had, Jackson had, because we couldn't go to them. The swimming pools in the white communities, white folks were in the majority then. We couldn't go to those pools. And then when the federal government said, look, these are taxpayers, you need to open up all these facilities to everybody. Instead of doing that, they closed all the pools. Because they wasn't going to get in no pool with no niggas. Now, look at the city of Jackson. Ain't our pools open? Who in charge? Look throughout the county. What shape are our parks in community areas, community centers? Who in charge? See, it's one thing if a person is stupid, then they're just stupid. That's it. But if you just lacking proper information, when you know better, you do better. Now we have to start realizing that it takes oversight. Registering and voting is a major part, a component of the process. But after that, we have to monitor. We have to monitor and let them know where we put in these offices. We have to know. Do you know why you're there? Do you know what your responsibility is? You take Grove Park over there in the Shady Oak area, the Bel Air Estates area, Grove Park. When it was Jackson was segregated, that's where we went. One of the places. I played little league baseball over there. Look at it now. It's closed. I went by there today. It's locked up like a prison. Gated. Locks on the fence. Gates. Brian Goodell, that's your district. Why you voting for everything that Anton Lumumba wanted? You see, what I'm saying to you right now, as I say, this is not gossip. This is fact. What I'm saying to you right now are facts, unfortunately. However, as I always say too, we want to hear what's on your mind. 601-948-5950. Let us know. I say too. When you call in and say what's on your mind, I guarantee you there are others out there thinking like you. So when you call in, you encourage others and you let others know, hey, I'm not the only one seeing this thing. So we have to do better than just talk about it. We got to register and vote. Because thus far we've had people in these positions of authority who are in charge of our money who seem to not understand there's a connection, there's a correlation between substandard schools and our children going to prison. There's a direct correlation to that. When the census says there's 38,000 children, youth, there's 38,000 youth in the city of Jackson between the age of 5 and 18. 38,000, less than 17,000 are in our public schools. Are we to think that all the rest of them are in charter schools? Are we to think that there's no correlation between the gang problem in Jackson and the fact that our prison system is 68% Black? We 38% of the population and 68% of the prison population. We're not to think that there's no correlation between our schools, our neighborhood schools being closed, teachers paid substandard wages. And when I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about the ones who are actually in the classroom. I ain't talking about all them superintendents over there that's making over $125,000 a year. We got 22 of them over there. 22. And the superintendent making $300,000 a year for a C-rated school district. And so as a comparison, you got the DeSoto County, the school there, 36,000 student population. Their budget is less than 300,000, 300 million. Their budget is less than 300 million. The city of Jackson's budget is 434 million. DeSoto County budget is less than 300 million, and they're rated A rated. We 434 million, less than 17,000 students, and mediocre, C rated. And we giving the superintendents over their raises. What would make that happen? These are things that I know go through your mind. This is as much as they're going through mine. And for well, I'm swerve a little bit here because some people asked me this today. What's happening with this special election, the supervisors? Because I'm organizing a debate between Mr. Smith and Mr. Archie. They both had said that they will do this debate once we put it together. Now, Mr. Smith, he made a statement that makes sense or requirement. He said, well, wait till we have a date set for the election and then we'll do the debate. Okay. Now, the governor said today that now that this process is still in the courts, he'll wait till that process is over before he set a date. Because it's the governor's responsibility to set the date for a special election. Now, people have heard that the judge vacated his whole decision that there's not going to be an election, and that's not true. It's not true. What the judge did was he set a date for the election and then realized that that was overstepping his authority and responsibility, and said, okay, I'm taking that back. I'm going to let the governor do his job. So the governor hadn't said that there's not going to be a special election. He said the process is still in the courts, being that it's being appealed, and he's going to let that process play out before he set an election, if necessary. So again, we want people to have to understand what's going on, to have the real facts, and understand what's going on. Because you don't understand, but they threw out, the judge threw out his orders and said we're not going with that. It's not happening like that. So again, I'm intending to have Mr. Smith and Mr. Archie before this next election, the special election, which, if it comes about, we're going to do this debate. Again, they both have said to me that they're willing to do it and willing to cooperate. So my goal is for us to understand who we're voting for. Let this person speak for themselves and present themselves to us, and then we go from there. Because, for one, I've had a caller in and say, well, can we do anything about a person that we done put in office and they're not doing their job? Well, we don't have a recall process. Out west, they have a recall process. Recall means if you elect a person in a position and that person is not functioning as they should in that position, then they could put together a process and have that person removed. We don't have that process in Mississippi. But what we can do, they get one shot at it. Instead of having people going back and back and back and back to offices and doing little or nothing, except coming out around election time to make us think that they've done some things for us. But with all the money that's been floating around in Jackson, I'm talking about there are people that we put in offices downtown and in the county who've gotten filthy rich. In the meantime, we still got bad streets, undrinkable water, mediocre schools, communities deteriorating, not enough police on the street. As if, again, we can't make that correlation when you got a population of 150,000 citizens and you got just over 200 police total. We can't figure out. I called the police and it took them 2 hours to get here if they came. Well, you got 200 to cover the whole city, and then all 200 ain't on the street at the same time. We have to realize that. So out of that 200 in the city the size of Jackson, you have about 75 police on the street at any given time. Or less than that, because when all of them are not on the street, they have to man the offices, and then people say, we call the police and don't get an answer. All of these things go together. Unfortunately, in the past administration, they want to convince us that we didn't need the police. And what about diminishing the force? I'm talking about the anti-this group. As if there's no correlation between crime and not enough police on the street. And then you got to pay them like you understand what they have to do out there, putting their lives on the line. That's why as soon as they get an opportunity to go somewhere else, they're gone. They get trained by us and then go somewhere else. That pays them like they understand what they do out there. Unfortunately, we have been putting people in office that just hope that we never had the time to just sit down and think about this and really put plans together to do something about it. Again, you can call in 601-948-5950. And we say again, we're talking about facts here, not a gossip station, not a gossip program. We don't do that. But there's a real problem. When we are putting African Americans in these offices. There's a real problem. Okay.
Hello?
Go ahead, Carly, you're on the line.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. Look, I want point out something that you just said about the policing of Jackson.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I found out years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a resident of Jackson.
Okay.
And I wanted to become a JPD officer. And because a lot of my classmates, a couple of my family members, they were all JPD.
Mm-hmm.
And they started telling me things. So I said, okay. That's when I was employed up at Madison County, and I got pulled over for a decal back in the late 1990s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I went up to pay the ticket. And when I was in there was a letter that was from the Department of Justice that was written to the mayor and the chief of police at that time. They were trying to get more money to fight crime in Madison. The letter said that the approval was denied because Madison had the lowest crime rate in the South.
Mm. So
I said to myself, wait a minute. Why have JPD officers been underpaid for decades in this city? So that's what I said to myself, wait a minute. The Department of Justice gives cities money to fight crime. If you got a high crime, okay. Explain to me how much money has the city of Jackson received over decades from the Department of Justice to fight crime, and why police officers have not got raises, but you come with all these different chiefs that come up with these stipulations to say, well, you got to have a college degree to get this raise, to be able to get more money, or you got to pass this certification, this and here and there. But they're not telling people how much money that the mayor, I'm not saying John Horn, I'm just saying throughout different administrations over a period of time, how much money have they advocated from the Department of Justice to receive money to help fight crime in the city, and yet police officers have always been underpaid. And that's the reason why a lot of police officers told me they'll get their training, like you just said, and go somewhere else because they get paid a lot more.
Right.
So it's like a financial little what's the word I'm looking for? It would be manipulated here.
Well, you're making some good points, Carla, and let me give you a couple of facts here. Well, you asked about where the money and the Department of Justice giving money. During the Lumumba administration, when grant money would come in for public safety, he would dole that money out between his friends. Instead of giving that money, giving raises to the police, they're going to go start some kind of community watch program, sometimes headed by a sister, with that money, as opposed to giving it to the police. Another fact, that $33 million that they obtained from Siemens, 33, well, it's supposed to have been 90 million, but I went through that before, but they gave $33 million to a law firm to sign that agreement when we have a city legal department and that's their job and they've already paid. Then with that $33 million, they could have given every employee in the city of Jackson a $10,000 annual raise and then have money left over to pay to put more police on the streets.
MPD officers, you name it, could have got raises across the board.
Across the board. Now that's a fact. That's a fact. So sometimes, as I say, sometimes we tell people some of the things that go on here in Mississippi, they sound so absurd that they think you're joking, but it's not. Thank you for your call, caller. Appreciate you, brother.
All right.
And see that's what when we start. Okay, we got another call here. Go ahead, caller. You on there? All right. How you doing, Big White?
Doing good, Judge. I wanted to call and give clarification to this special election that has been approved by the judge. And as you know, Judge, and we all know, when the judge enters an order, it is to be followed to the T, not the I, not the L, not the G, to the T.
Right.
I'm not correct, Judge.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was just informing my listeners, you might have tuned in afterwards, but I was just informing the listeners about that process where it is as of right now. And you're right, there has been no effort to stop the special election as it is. The governor, Kate Reeves, said today that since there's been an appeal in this judicial process, he's going to wait till the appeals process play out before he makes a decision on when the special election, if necessary, will be had. So that's where we are right now. That's where that process is right now. Nobody has vacated the judge's order in terms of there will be a special election. There will be a special election should his order stand. Supreme Court maintains his order, and the governor will, at that time, set a date for the special election. So you're absolutely right.
That's correct. And also, Judge, I want to add to the conversation that it's got to be followed, as I said earlier. And the judge said that he wants a fast track election. He also stated that no stoplights and no stop signs would stop the election from happening. Now, it's people that's putting stuff out there that is definitely untrue, Judge.
Yeah.
It's definitely untrue.
Yeah.
As you said, and we both are saying the same thing, it's gonna happen. Now, he will be the one that selects the date, but it needs to be known he will not come within statute. Now, that is a fact. Now, regardless of what it is, Judge, that he's proclaiming, that is law, as you know. Statute is statute. We can't change that. So, at this point, everybody needs to know that, yes, he, meaning the governor, has to give the date for the election, but yes, the election will be going on, and it can't be stopped by an appeal because he had placed a order to not have any appeals to stop it. I'm talking about the judge himself because he placed a stay. If you like to explain to people, Judge, what a stay is, he placed a stay on the election. So that's what I wanted to add, Judge, to the conversation and make sure people understand that, yes, the election does go on, and we want people to make sure that they are registered to vote and that when the election comes, they go out and vote. And we want you to make sure you go out and vote in record numbers in regards to it.
Appreciate your call, bro. Thank you.
Bye now.
Again, we want us to realize it's very important that we get involved in this election process. Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Yes, I was heard you talking about the money that we have got. I heard on news also that the county in Jackson got a lot of money to fix these roads and potholes. But every time I call the supervisor of District 2, he said, ain't no money. He said, he ain't got no money. He ain't get no money.
Which supervisor would that be?
Now,
Okay. All right.
in Little, I live off of Frank Hall Road. They ain't been on Frank Hall in 2 years. They ain't cutting no grass. They ain't fixing no pothole. We got bridges behind down there you can't even see from the grade and the cut. And the potholes are so bad. Channel 16 did an interview with my cousin not too long ago, and they were in respond back. The potholes are so bad, we're driving on the side in the pit to try to avoid the potholes.
I agree with you, brother. You're right on with that.
Well, I don't understand. He done did Morgan Brownville Road 3 times. He done did William Lake. He done did pave over on them. I said, why we can't get a pave over on them? They told us the road is too bad to fix. We need a whole nother road.
Oh,
We can't even get the road. If it's too bad to fix, he said he fixed. He had a pay of the 21 on the baddest road in Hines County. Ain't no way Frank Howell didn't make it anytime they done said the road can't be fixed. You need a whole new road. We should have been top on the list.
well, let me add it. I thank you for your call, Carl. Another bit of fact. I've come to find out that there was $2 million allocated to fix the parks in Jackson and Hines County, to be allocated to the different parks. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened, so we're still sitting there. Nobody knows what happened to the money. Where is the money? Where is the money? Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Well, I got cut off somehow.
All right, wrap it up so we can. I got some other calls, Carl.
Oh, okay. I just wanted somebody to come on Frank Howell Road. Look, anybody, Casey him come.
All right, thank you, brother. And that's the thing, I had State Senator Solina Ward on the program who showed me, and I held it up for those who were viewing me on Facebook and StreamYard, Standing for the People, that in black and white, over $2 million, well, close more than that was allocated to the city of Jackson for different projects. And the only reason the city of Jackson didn't get that money is that during that period of time, they never did an audit, which was necessary for them to show what they were doing with the money so that the legislature would feel comfortable in giving this money to Jackson. And on that issue, not long ago, Councilman Stokes I'll get back to that. Go ahead, Carla.
Hey, I was just calling to just make a comment based off your commentary on the air today.
Yes.
This is a little left field of despite the corruption and the crime and the roads and stuff that the city of Jackson is going through right now and has been going through for several years. I must say I'm a product of South Jackson back when South Jackson was very prominent and before it was very much so annexed to what it is today.
Right.
I do believe that it's just been very poor leadership, and since then I have been an employee for Ridgeland, the city of Ridgeland, for about 10 plus years. And it's a big difference between leadership there and leadership within the city of Jackson all the way around. But one thing that did stand out to me is that I don't understand when it comes to Madison and Ridgeland and Gluckstadt. Well, not even Gluckstadt, I would say Ridgeland. When it comes to homeless people or the less fortunate people, why are they always tend to be dropped off in the city of Jackson?
Right. That's a good question.
I see that often, in a lot, and it's not being talked about much, but I do want to bring knowledge to that. It is a lot of less fortunate people, and when they are in Ridgeland, and sometimes in Madison, it is stipulations that are assumptions that those individuals are being brought back to Jackson, which I think is enough money circulating in those areas that could have homeless shelters and things of that sort in those particular areas. But everything is gravitated to the city of Jackson, and the city of Jackson is only doing the best that they can. But I do say it all falls on the community a lot because we are the voters.
Right.
And it's who we put in office at the end of the day.
Thank you.
It's who we have put in office for these past couple years.
Right.
And
right.
I mean, it's not rocket science, to see what's been going on and with the water and everything. So I guess with everything that's going on in the city of Jackson, it trickles down to who we vote for.
And you're absolutely right.
Important.
Thank you, Carla, for your comment. You're absolutely
No
right.
problem. You.
And on that, I was about to say, not long ago, City Councilman Stokes, put on the agenda that I would be the director of the effort to do a forensic audit for the city of Jackson. That is, I would find the company, the accounting firm. Forensic audit is a audit that shows where the money is going, where the money should have been going, and if there's any illegal activity. Now, that position had already been voted on and confirmed 2 years before Councilman Stokes put me on the agenda to be the director of their project. That process stalled because Anton pulled in his 4 votes that he always did: Brazil, Angelique Lee, Virgil Lindsay, and at that time, Aaron Banks. They made him president so he could table the item. But that was to do a forensic audit of the city of Jackson's budget. And every effort to get an audit done was thwarted by the Lumumba administration. Now, these are facts. And there's a reason why they wouldn't want an audit done. Just like $1 million in COVID money disappeared, given to a L&N corporation that I tried to find. I researched, I tried to literally find that company and couldn't find it. But they were given $1 million, supposedly. So, when people start talking about, well, they're picking on us because we Black, it don't matter what color you are if you're causing the people to suffer. So you shouldn't even be trying to play that card. If our streets are bad, our streets, our neighborhoods are dangerous, and we're not getting proper services, What color? What the difference does it make what color the person is that's causing this to be in that position or that situation? You know, and I say again, the whole world is watching us. No, we got in the world today with all this media access. You think that people don't know what's going on in Mississippi? You think they don't? I had my daughter call me from Atlanta, trying to inquire about this Nolan Wells situation from Atlanta. So we think everything that happened here is just stay local. When they say Jackson, Mississippi has the largest percentage of any city in the country of African Americans. Any city in the country. The state of Mississippi has the largest percentage of African Americans in their population than any other state in the country. Now we have a very unique situation because the cycle has come back around because right after the Civil War and in the early part of the 1900s, the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizens Council, they realized that black folks outnumbered them greatly. So the effort was to run them out of the state. And that's what all the lynchings was about. Go ahead, Carl. You're on there.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, okay.
I was just calling about white. You went to school, y'all, like in your days, you didn't understand. We can get it. You went to from. But anyway, I was calling back. As long as we talking about yesterday, we tying our today up. We tying our mind up, see? That's why we ain't getting no will. See? We ain't not worried about what they and already. Let us take on what we got today.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, Carl. Now, that's what the problem is. If you don't understand where you came from, you'll never figure out where you need to go. So, I mean, our history is important. I mean, we need not let anybody make us think. That's why they don't want to teach our actual history in the schools. They want to continue to think that our ancestors brought here because that made us civilized to be slaves. They want the world to believe that. And that after slavery, we didn't know what to do with ourselves. They want the world to believe that. That we didn't know how to govern ourselves. They want the world to believe that. So now here we are in a position to show the world what we're able to do. And unfortunately, we've been putting people in these offices that don't remember that. That is more important to them self-serving purposes than to be in the office where they're supposed to be a servant of the people. Now, if an individual want to get rich, then they need to go into business. But being an elected official is not the position. Any position of an elected position is not the position for a person to be thinking, I'm going to get rich in this position. That's why they wind up being like our former mayor and our district attorney. That's what happens. And then for us, when you're doing, well, they coming after me because I'm black. If you ain't doing nothing, they can't find nothing. As the saying goes, if it ain't in you, it can't come out. If James Brown used to say money won't change. If you're a thief, you'll be a billionaire thief, like our president. If that's what you are, that's what you are, unless that person has to make some serious change. But for us as a people here in Jackson and in Hinds County, in the state of Mississippi, we're in a unique situation. And they're hoping that we don't understand that. Go ahead, Carl.
Sure, Pastor Jackson, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Pastor Jackson. I got another call coming in. Let's be brief.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I thank you for your show tonight. I'll give you a call later on How about that?
That'd be great. You know I want to hear from you, Reverend Jackson. You know I want to hear from you.
Look, man, always good to hear your voice. Dr. Clan,
Yes, sir. I know, that's right. Thank you.
all right, man.
All right.
Hang in there.
Appreciate you, Reverend Jackson.
We appreciate it too.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Carter. You on
You
there.
say your number is 601-202-2062.
202-6027. 6027.
6027. Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
I'll give you a ring. Appreciate it.
All right. Yes, people, we got to remember our ancestors, we struggled too hard. We have struggled and paid the price. We talk about what the struggle we came through to even get in this position. We can't afford to put people in these offices who don't appreciate that. Go ahead, Carla, you on there.
Good evening, Judge. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
Happy Wednesday. Thank you for such a always bringing the information to the community.
I thank you so
I
much.
like what you said earlier. You said people try to get in these positions for money.
Right.
That's exactly what's going on. And in my opinion, we need a whole new slate. From the Hines County Board of Supervisors, City Council, and everybody. I saw my supervisor one day and gonna ask her a question. She looked at me like I was stoned. And I'm like, well, I voted for you. You work for me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks for taking my call. Have a good evening.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Go ahead, Carter, you on there.
Good afternoon, Judge Sampson. This is Lee Moore from over in Georgetown. I just want to let you know you're doing an outstanding job. Stay the course.
I appreciate you, Brother Leo. Thank you, brother.
All right. Be blessed.
Yes, sir. Good to hear your voice, brother. So I'm coming down to what the last couple of minutes here, but you know, as always, when you call in, callers, you know, there are others out there that think like you. And there are others out there who feel encouraged when they hear your voice, saying the same thing that's on their mind. So that's what this is about. That's why I say we don't get into no gossip here, but then rumors and all that. And we talk about facts and something we can do something about. And see, with all those so-called PhDs and whatever over there at the school board who can't come up with ideas to keep our schools open, who can't come up with ideas to spend that $434 million in a manner that our children can benefit from it, there's something greatly wrong. Greatly wrong. As I said, a couple of years ago, when our children did better on the statewide standardized test than they thought they should have done, they fired 17 teachers right off the bat. But we got 23 superintendents. None of them got fired. What are their jobs? See, now I understand we got a principal for every grade now. A principal for every grade. But they don't have enough money to pay the teachers, and they don't have enough money to make our schools. I've gone to the elementary school and seen wiring falling out of the ceiling. And went over there because there was a report that they didn't have any running water. And these were elementary children. You see, as I said before, those racist and bigoted minds that we had to deal with long ago, they were perfectly happy, perfectly okay with us having substandard facilities. Now, are we going to do this to ourselves? That's the question. That we can stand up and be sure that our children have every quality facilities. I was told that the elementary students at Jackson Prep, they get regular massage therapy for the students over there. Massage therapy. And our kids getting cold pizza slices for lunch. We're doing this to ourselves. And the only way that can happen is that we continue to let people hoodwink us and try to blame white folks for every misfortune that we have. We are in charge. We're the government. We run the city, supposed to. We run the county, supposed to. We run the school board, the schools. And I'm saying to you, it's not because of lack of money. Whenever money come in, it disappears. So we're just talking about $2 million that was supposed to be allocated for the parks in Hines County and Jackson, and none of that renovation started. None of it. We're going to continue to bring this information to you folks. Well, I appreciate the call. Unfortunately, I'm down to my last minute. I can't take any more calls right now, but listen next week, 7 o'clock. We intend to be here. I love hearing from you. I love hearing from you. And there are people out there, I guarantee you, that are thinking just like you. So until next week, standing for the people. We'll be here. Take us out, Lady Cherie.